So, this happened. I was in Waterstones the other day and I saw this on the table and I was looking at it, and one of the guys that worked there came over and he said, it's a really good book. He said it was really good to start, then it wanes a little bit and he was close to giving up on it. And he said, I pushed through, and he said, I'm so pleased that I did because it was absolutely amazing. And that intrigued me. I was like, I said, I'm very close. And then I said, but I'm just going to hold it and wander around for a minute. And while I was holding it, another person at work there came over and they just said that it was one of the best books they've ever read. And then we ended up chatting about other books for ages, but what can I say? I bought it. So let me tell you what it says it's about. Welcome to the Alexandrian Society. When the world's best magicians are offered an extraordinary opportunity, saying yes is easy. Each could join the secretive Alexandrian Society, whose custodians guard lost knowledge from ancient civilizations. Their members enjoy a lifetime of power and prestige, yet each decade only 6 practitioners are invited to fill 5 places. Contenders Libby Rhodes and Nico de Verona are inseparable enemies, cosmologists who can control matter with their minds. Parisa Kamani is a telepath who sees the mind's deepest secrets. Raina Mori is a naturalist who can perceive and understand the flow of life itself. And Callum Nova is an empath who can manipulate the desires of others. Finally, there's Tristan Kane, whose powers mystify even himself. Following recruitment by the mysterious Atlas Blakely, they travel to the Society's London headquarters. Here, each must study and innovate within esoteric subject areas. If they can prove themselves over the course of a year, they'll survive, most of them. I mean, that just sounds brilliant, doesn't it? That sounds absolutely fab. So, it says knowledge is carnage. I cannot wait to start it. So I am going to read a chapter or 2 this evening, and I'll catch up with you soon. So it is the next day. I am continuing with the Atlas 6. I have just got to the end of the first section. The first section, we had a short chapter devoted to each of the individuals that are trying out to join the secret society. So they've all been visited by this guy who's basically given them this sort of card that can transport them in so many hours to the initiation. We found out a little teeny bit about each one's sort of like situation and their magic ability. And that's as far as we've got so far. But so far, I'm enjoying it. So I have been continuing with the Atlas 6. I read another section yesterday. It's not wowing me, but I'm intrigued enough to keep going. So, in the section yesterday, the students were all brought together as part of the initiation, and it's a competition, so we've had a little bit of a bitchiness about I'm better than they are, their powers aren't really anything special, and then something happened and they had to start working together or working with others that they didn't think were going to be any good. So of course preconceived notions and that have been completely wiped, and you can now see where relationships, friendships and that, they're going to start progressing. So I'm looking forward now to hopefully the action starting to pick up a bit. So I've just hit the 42% mark according to Goodreads. Big overture, little show. I'm not wowed by it so far, not particularly living up to the hype. And I would say 42% of the way in, I'm not exactly at the beginning. But the guy in Waterstones, he did say it gets to the stage you like, shall I knock it on the head, and then it gets really good. So I'm hopeful that'll happen soon. I mean, I like the characters. They're very quirky. I like quirky. I like hearing about the institute itself, about their magical abilities. But there's just something missing. I mean, the story itself sounds like it should be great. It's just not there yet. But then I don't know if this is just we're still kind of world building. I'm going to persevere with it because, I mean, I'm enjoying it. It's one of those books, I'm enjoying it enough to continue reading, but it's not wowing me. So anyway, I will try and pick it up tomorrow. If not, I know I will again later this week. But I'm just a little bit disappointed so far, but you know, it might turn around. Who knows? So, I've got less than 100 pages left. I know when I last spoke to you, I was about 42%. I'm now on about 89, 90%. It got good. I've read quite a bit over just the last couple of nights. It's, I think when I last spoke to you, I got to that stage that I mentioned where you almost want to DNF it, and then you need to keep persevering and then it gets good, because it's getting good. I'm not saying it's 5-star good, but the action's definitely happening. The characters are far more developed now. The relationships are changing, building. Their magical abilities are being used a bit more now. But actually the story itself is getting good. We're getting a little bit of action. We've just had a bit of a dramatic ending to one of the chapters, not telling you which. So yeah, I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm hoping to finish this today or tomorrow. Yeah, as I said, if you are close to DNFing it and you're about the halfway point, please, please, please push on before you make that decision, because it does get better. It really does. I don't want to do like a heavy spoiler-filled vlog, because I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. But this one is more about the characters. We've learned a little bit about the Institute, which is basically like a magical glorified archive that only certain people are allowed access to, which is why you've got these initiates trying to join. But I'm hopeful that the second book is more about the place and what the Institute do than just the individuals that are part of it. So I might give that a look-see, but I think I'm going to be picking up the second book. So I've just finished the Atlas 6. I really enjoyed it. It didn't finish how I thought it was going to end at all. That completely took me by surprise, and I'm really pleased, because I thought about 50 pages ago I knew where it was going, and I didn't. And I like how it's ended. I think it's given a good setup for book 2, which I'm now about 90% sure I'm going to pick up. So I'm going with a 3.5 out of 5, which I think is still pretty good. For me, there were no characters in particular that I was particularly rooting for or that I connected with, which I think was a bit of a shame. And there was that sort of that dip in the middle of the book where I was a bit like, oh, do I want to continue this or not? But actually, I'm pleased that I did. So it was really good. So if you are into books that involve magical schools or institution type things, or just sort of magicians with different powers in general, consider picking it up. I thought it was pretty good.